Okay, so you've got this gold IRA, right?
Right.
Hoping it'll be a nice nest egg when you retire.
Right.
But then you start thinking, how do I actually get to that money when the time comes? That's what we're looking at today.
Absolutely.
Using this guide, Gold IRA Withdrawal Procedures. It
Mhm.
was just updated in August by Gold IRA Blueprint.
Very good resource.
So we're assuming you have a handle on the Gold IRA basics.
Right.
We want to jump right into the how-to of actually getting your hands on that gold when you need it.
Okay, sounds good.
The guide starts right away with this difference between traditional and Roth Gold IRAs and how they're taxed when you take money out.
Yeah, that's a fundamental difference to understand right up front.
It's like choosing your tax strategy from the get-go, isn't it?
Exactly. With a traditional gold IRA, you're basically delaying those taxes till retirement. You only pay taxes on the gains when you actually take the money out.
Okay.
But with a Roth, you pay taxes up front. So those withdrawals in retirement are potentially tax-free.
So you're saying that's a pretty important decision to make early on.
Absolutely. Understanding that difference is key for picking the best option for your own situation, your financial goals.
Makes sense. Got to think long term. Now, the guide also mentions these early withdrawal penalties. We all know unexpected expenses pop up,
Right. Life happens.
and it's tempting to dip into those retirement savings. What's the deal with those penalties, really?
Well, that penalty for early withdrawal is usually a stiff 10% of what you take out,
Ouch.
and that's on top of the regular income tax you'd owe. Taking money out early can put a real dent in your retirement savings.
That's a pretty good motivator to leave it be. But I did notice the guide mentions there are some exceptions to that rule, like if you're facing some kind of hardship.
Yeah, the IRS has some exceptions, but they're specific. Like if you have huge medical expenses that your insurance doesn't cover,
Right.
or you become disabled and can't work, or you're facing foreclosure on your house.
So you can't just decide to take a vacation.
Exactly. It has
Yeah.
to be something big, and you'll need to prove it with documentation, probably talk to a financial expert too to make sure you qualify.
Makes sense. So
Well,
you're retired now, ready to enjoy the fruits of your labor. The guide talks about qualified distributions. What does that even mean?
basically, it means taking your money out the right way, following the IRS rulebook for your type of gold IRA.
Got it.
Follow the rules, and the tax man's happy.
Sounds like a plan. The guy also talks about these required minimum distributions, RMDs.
Right.
Seems like something everyone getting close to retirement needs to understand.
It is basically the IRS saying, time to start taking some distributions. You've had it good long enough.
They want their cut.
Right. When you hit 73, you have to start withdrawing a certain percentage from your gold IRA each year. It's based on your life expectancy.
Even if I don't really need the money at that point.
That's right. And if you don't take out the RMDs, there's a big penalty. We're talking 50% of what you were supposed to withdraw.
Okay. No messing around with the RMDs then.
Yes.
So let's say you want to leave some of this to your loved ones.
Sure, estate planning.
What happens to a gold IRA when the owner passes away? It seems pretty complicated from what I've seen.
Inheriting a gold IRA has its own set of rules, and estate planning is essential here.
So it's not as simple as inheriting, say, a safety deposit box full of gold.
Not quite. Your beneficiaries might have different options and timelines for taking withdrawals than you did, and those rules can change depending if it's your spouse inheriting it or someone else.
So even more reason to have a solid plan in place.
Absolutely, especially with something as important as this.
Makes sense. So the guide keeps mentioning this age, 59 and a half, as some magic number.
Right, that's a big one.
Does that mean once you hit that age, you're in the clear to withdraw without those penalties?
It's a good starting point, but it's not always that cut and dried. There might be other factors based on how your gold IRA was initially set up, even if you're past that age.
So even at 59 and a half, it's important to go back, look at those original documents, and make sure you understand any specific rules tied to your account.
Exactly. It's all about being thorough.
We've covered a lot, but I'm already seeing a theme here. Information is key when it comes to gold IRAs. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll dig deeper into the tax implications, strategies for taking out your money, and more. Stick around.
So we're back, and before the break, we were really getting into the nitty-gritty of gold IRA withdrawals, those penalties, those required minimum distributions, and now I think it's time we tackle the T-word taxes.
Right, because like it or not, they're part of the retirement planning game.
They are, but the good news is the guide really highlights some ways to approach your withdrawals strategically and potentially lessen the tax bite. It's all about making those golden years a bit more, golden.
Love that. So how do we navigate this tax map and keep more of what we've saved?
Well, it starts with understanding how withdrawals from those different accounts, traditional versus Roth, are actually taxed. Remember, with traditional gold IRAs, those withdrawals are generally taxed as ordinary income, meaning
Yeah.
meaning the amount of tax you pay depends on what tax bracket you're in when you take the money out.
Okay, so if I'm at a higher tax bracket come retirement time, I might want to think about some ways to maybe lower my taxable income.
Exactly. Now, with Roth Gold IRAs, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Because you already pay taxes on your contributions, qualified withdrawals in retirement could be completely tax-free.
Which would be great, especially since who knows what tax rates will be like down the road. Now, the guide also stressed accurate reporting when it comes to these withdrawals. Even a small mistake seems like it could raise red flags with the IRS. What should our listeners be most careful about?